Kayla with Live Oak Nest. Welcome back to my home. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some fun and festive ways to add a little Christmas charm or winter charm to your tablescape. So I'm actually using this for Christmas, and it will probably go with me into the winter season as well. I'm using a lot of blues and sage green colors, and I love how this tablescape turned out. So I'm going to turn you around and kind of show you my process, what I made, and then how it all came together. So I wanted to start here by using some Maker Studio products. Y'all know that I love their stencils and all of the goodies that they have available. So I am using the etching cream here, and I have a little glass salad plate that I picked up from the dollar store. And this stencil actually came in the Christmas Maker box. It's this farmhouse Christmas stencil, and I believe it's only available in that box. So if you want it, I believe you can still grab that box. But I love this stencil. It is one of my favorites. I love the sheep with the wreath around its little head. I just think it is so cute. And I wanted to use the etching cream for this project because I like how simple it looks. I feel like it looks elegant, and it kind of adds that winter like frost feel to me to the table. So the first thing I want to do is just cut out this stencil. These are reusable mesh stencils with adhesive on them, so you can use them on pretty much any surface. You just wipe them off with warm soapy water when you're done, and then stick them back on the backing, and you can just reuse them over and over again. So here I've pulled the backing off. I'm just going to line this up, center it on my salad plate here, and then make sure that it has great contact all around. I want to smooth it out really well because I don't want any of my paint, or in this case the etching cream, seeping underneath that mesh for the stencil. So next I'm going to go ahead and apply my etching cream. If you want to use the ceramic ink, you could do that as well. You could do the chalk art if you're putting it on wood or something like that. But this is the paintbrush that comes from a Maker Studio, and I just cut off the end a little bit so it has more of like a stipple. It's a little bit stiffer so I can kind of stipple on the etching cream. But less is not more here. You want to really gob this up. So you want to make sure that there is a lot of product on here. It's going to help it do its job and etch this design into this plate. So I'm going to kind of work my way around, kind of moving my brush in all directions to kind of really fill in this stencil. And then I'll go in and kind of add a little bit more just all over before I pull my stencil up. So once I have enough of the etching cream on, I'm going to go ahead and pull my stencil back, and then from here I'm just going to rinse this with warm soapy water. And you can see here, like, it looks pretty full. You need to let the etching cream sit for, I don't know, 10 to 30 minutes, I'd say, to really let it do its job. And then once it's set, you can rinse it off with warm water, and this is what you'll have. So I tried to put something behind it so you can kind of get a better idea of what it looks like, but it is beautiful, and I love how this looks. So the next thing I wanted to create were some little place cards for my table setting. So I'm using a cardstock set, or a greeting card set that comes from a Maker Studio, and I just trimmed it down to be the size that I'd want. This stencil is the All Is Bright stencil, and it is also in the Christmas Maker box or the Holiday Maker box. So if you want to do these projects, you can purchase that box and you'll get both of these stencils. So I love this laurel wreath with a little bow on the bottom here, and I just thought it would be beautiful and elegant and go so perfectly with the tablescape that I have in mind. So I'm going to trim out this beautiful little wreath and then use it to make some place cards. So I'm using lots of blues and greens and silvers, so I wanted to use this metallic silver chalk art. This is like a chalk-based style paint, and I thought this silver would be really beautiful with the tablescape that I'm putting together. So I'm just going to peel my backing off here, lay my stencil down on the paper, and then again I want to make sure that it is smoothed down really well and has made good contact with my paper before I go in with my gel art ink or chalk art. In this case, I'm using the metallic silver chalk art. So I'm going to be using these spreaders. They're silicone just spreading tools that help you kind of push the paint down into your stencil. This right here comes as a little set. It is great. I would recommend this set. It works so great on all the different projects that you use, but it's so nice to be able to push that ink or paint down into the stencil really nicely without making a mess all over your paper. So here I'm just going to start pushing my paint all around and pressing it into the stencil really well. I am going to kind of really load this up quite heavy because it is metallic silver, so it's kind of hard to see if you're doing a really thin coat on white paper. So I'm going to go around and get it all pushed in nicely, and then I'm going to go back kind of with another layer that's kind of thick so that when I pull this off, it kind of has like an embossed look to it. So I think this is going to look really nice. And that's why I'm kind of keeping it on pretty thick. Otherwise, I would kind of scrape back that excess and put it back into the jar. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull back my stencil here, and you can see how beautiful this wreath turned out. I'm just, every single time I use one of these stencils, I'm always amazed at how clean and crisp the stencil comes out, and the detail in Amy's stencils, they are just, it's amazing. So I wanted to also note, like, after I've done this one place card, I don't need to go wash my stencil off and then let it dry before I go in and make another place card. You can just kind of pull it off and place it on your next paper and then press it down with one of your spreader tools and then kind of repeat that same process. So use your tool to press your ink or your paint down into your stencil and then pull it up, and you can just move right along like that. You don't have to stop and wash it and let it dry. So it kind of helps it go a little bit quicker. In this case, I'm really loading up my stencil with a lot of paint, so I did about 3 before I decided to wash it and then pat it dry and then keep going. So from there, I'm going to start working on my tablescape. I'm using wrapping paper as my runner. This is from Target. And then I'm going to use this old shutter that's been turned into a mirror to kind of anchor my centerpiece. So the next thing I want to do is put together a couple of floral arrangements for my table centerpiece. For Christmas, I love using hydrangeas and Christmas greens, and I'm using this mercury glass bowl as my base here. And then I love to use chicken wire, and I just kind of wad it up into the shape of the bowl or vase that I'm using, and it's much easier to me than doing the taping grid. It stays put really well, and it just helps hold the flowers upright and just makes your arrangement look a little bit fuller and more beautiful. I love how these turned out. They're so pretty, and they complement the colors in my tablescape so well. So once I had my floral arrangements done, it's really just building it up and putting everything together. So I did 3 arrangements for the centerpiece, 2 larger ones and 1 kind of small one, and then I just kind of scattered in candles and tea light candles. So I'm going to give you a closer look at all of the details and just share how beautiful this tablescape looks. So y'all enjoy. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and you found a little inspiration along the way. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year.